Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to 49ers Coast to Coast. We're your hosts, Grant Cohn, Jason Aponte, and it's good timing today because news just broke. Jason, the Niners have been fined for another offseason violation. The first one was a violation at rookie minicamp, which cost them the rest of rookie minicamp. Now they did something at OTAs, which cost Kyle Shanahan $50,000 and the 49ers $100,000. I'd like to get your reaction real quick. I'll give you the official statement from the 49ers. Mm-hmm. The health and safety of our players is our highest priority, and we take following league rules very seriously. We will continue to work with the NFL and the NFLPA to ensure compliance. What's your reaction, given that that's all we know?
Right. So that really leaves it open to obvious interpretation as to we have no idea exactly what happened. I wondered out loud on Twitter whether this was something in accordance with what happened with Lenore. So did Lenore get them docked and then they came down and fined him? Seems like it's something completely different. It was San Francisco, Dallas, and Jacksonville, if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. So here's the interesting part. Jacksonville, you can totally see that because it's Urban Meyer, and he doesn't care about rules, never has, or anything, or ever doing anything correctly. I don't know what happened, and I don't want the 49ers to fall in line with this team that continues to bend rules, doesn't follow the rules. So it's going to be interesting to find out what exactly happened. I can't speculate until I find out what the exact incident was. Was it an extra practice? Were guys on the field too long? Because the CBA is really, really rigid in its parameters on what you're allowed to do and what you're not allowed to do anymore, especially while they're recovering from the pandemic. So it's really going to be interesting to find out what happened. Until they do tell you exactly what the incident was, the 49ers just gave a very generic PR, statement. I guess that's what they had to do right there. But until we know exactly what happened, it's hard to speculate right now.
Here's what we know. They got in trouble twice in the spring. They got in trouble in rookie minicamp. They got in trouble in OTAs. They shut down minicamp. They could have gotten in trouble a third time. It doesn't seem like this violation forced them to shut down minicamp. It still seems like that was a choice. And it seems like from what the NFL is doing and what the Niners' response was, they said, we're committed to health and safety of our players. It seems like what the NFL is saying is your practice are too vigorous for the spring. Whatever you were doing was a little too vigorous for the spring, and whether it was just nudging over the line or jumping past it, we're fining you. And I think it's interesting that Kyle Shanahan has to bear such a brunt of this. And I guess the only thing I would say is it's embarrassing. Year 5 of your tenure, it's OTAs, and you got fined twice. It's not like, hey, man, this is really serious, but I would say it's definitely embarrassing.
$50,000. We were just talking about it. Even if it is from Kyle Shanahan, who makes a ton of money, that's not an easy pill to swallow. I would be pretty upset with it. Yeah, I mean, it really. All right. So I guess what you're trying to lead me to is this. It does bear. Hey, is Kyle Shanahan just doing whatever he wants, not caring, with any of those things? I'm not certain. Again, I can't tell until we find out what exactly happened. But you're right. They've obviously broken the rules twice. The NFL doesn't come down on you because everything's on the up and up. Bill Belichick has bent the rules every which way until they change rules. So that's, I guess, a good blueprint to follow. I mean, if you're not bending the rules and cheating, you're not trying, I mean, he's winning Super Bowls, so, you can't. But honestly, until we find out what happened, you're right. You're absolutely right. It is a bit embarrassing because it is going to be twice that they've done that. We just got to find out what exactly happened. And here's the thing. Okay, here's one more thing. This roster has so many players that when we talk about them, we say if healthy. You're pushing the envelope on certain, like, I want to find out what this is and what's happening and what it was, because then we'll be able to come to a better, I guess, conclusion. I just need to know. Go ahead.
It seems to me that the Niners we know they have an injury issue, a pattern of 8 years, and we've had a lot of theories and hypotheses. And one of the hypotheses is that their practice are too strenuous. They're just too intense. And it seems like the NFL is saying that that's definitely part of it. And the Niners are saying, we're looking into it. So I just think that's kind of interesting right there. seems to be an indication that, hey, and look, if the Niners all of a sudden reverse the injury trend this year, let's spin it positive. Let's say they nip it in the bud and finally find the solution. Well, maybe they should thank the NFL. Maybe the NFL league office are going to be the ones who step in and end this ridiculous streak for the 49ers. It could happen.
Well, in that case, it's because the NFL realizes that their brand is stronger when the 49ers are a competing team. And there's no doubt about that. That's not being a 49er fan. That's the truth. If this is
the most important West Coast franchise. I don't care what you say about the Seahawks or the Rams. It's the most important West Coast franchise. The league is so much stronger when the Niners are good.
Right. When the Steelers, the Cowboys, the Niners, the Packers, when they're all good, when those teams, the Giants, when the cornerstone franchises or the teams with the biggest fan bases are the ones that are playing well year in, year out, the NFL profits.
Yep.
So maybe the NFL is this knight in shining armor right now to stop the injury woes, and maybe this is what's going to put them over the top into the bowl. And I know that's going to lead into
positive.
Yeah.
Oh, it's it's embarrassing for Kyle Shanahan. Year 5 as a head coach, you're getting these violations in spring. But you know what? Maybe this is Roger Goodell being like, Kyle, I can't stand to see you do this to yourself. I got you. So maybe losing $50K is the wake-up call that Kyle Shanahan needed, because I don't want to just wake up and get a $50K deduction on any day of my life.
Yeah, and is Roger Goodell an honorary member of OnlyFans now? Is that what we're getting to now at this point?
I think so.
All right. Hey, Raj, I'll talk to you soon. I got a membership packet for you.
All right, so that's all we know about the Niners. We're just having fun with their find. Yeah. It's not the best look, but maybe it's what they needed. All right, moving forward. How close, in your opinion, are the 49ers to winning the Super Bowl? They've been on a quest for 6 since I gained consciousness in this world, or since I can remember. Are they going to get there this year, next year, anytime soon? What do you think?
Yeah, soon. I think that here's 2 ways to spin it. Let's look at it both ways. And we've talked about this before. The first time that we talked about it, we said, well, I don't know if they should be considered right away off the bat Super Bowl contenders. But then when you start to look around the NFC now with probably no Aaron Rodgers, where's the team that is completely dominant besides the Bucs? So there's a window or a path for the 49ers to get to the Super Bowl.
And if the Bucs 45-year-old quarterback starts to play like he's 45, then it's wide open. Yeah. Wide open. Yeah.
So the NFC is wide open, and I understand that portion of it. I just think that that's a little bit too hasty right now, because I think that what the step that people are missing is the playoffs. You have to make the playoffs to make the. So here's what's so funny. I think it was Warren Sharp. He tweeted something about how many winning seasons the 49ers have had in, the last 10, 12 years, something like that. Mm-hmm. I believe the 49ers have had 4. Each of those 4 years, they were in the NFC Championship or the Super Bowl. This is the biggest boomer bust team in the league. It's not like they get to the playoffs and they lose one game. No. If they get to the playoffs, they're rolling on their way to a Super Bowl. So I think the goal first, obviously, before you get to a Super Bowl, is be a perennial playoff team. Put yourself in that mix every single time. So I won't say that right now they are a Super Bowl contender, but it's hard to argue with somebody who wants to say that, because the NFC is wide open. No one's scared of anybody from the East. If Aaron Rodgers isn't playing, even if he was there, the 49ers, when they're healthy, have kind of had their number. It's really their only competition, it seems like, in the NFC is going to come from their own division. And the Bucs, the Bucs will be the Bucs. They have probably one of the 1-2 best rosters in the league, brought everybody back. Antonio Brown's their number 3 receiver. They're absolutely stacked. I get that. And they should be the favorites to go back. But there is a world where the 49ers have a way to get there. I just don't think it's fair to put those expectations on this team right away. Let's start with a playoff berth. Let's get out of this division, which is probably the hardest in football. Let's get out of this division with 11, 12 wins. And then we'll talk about Super Bowl when we get to the playoffs. I just don't think it's fair to say Super Bowl or bust right now.
Yeah, I agree with that. I do. But I think people look maybe from the East Coast, they look at the Niners like, well, they're not really settled on a quarterback. I'm not taking them seriously. I don't really look at the Niners that way. I mean, they're not a quarterback-driven team. Quarterback is the most important position, but Jimmy can win. His replacement is much more talented. I feel like both of these quarterbacks could win on this team, and I feel like the roster is good. It's what Shanahan's been building for 5 years. I feel like people forget this is supposed to be year 5 of a 6-year deal. He got an extension, But the whole original plan of bringing him in is that he would be contending right now. And I think they're actually a little closer than maybe people nationally realize. Once one of these quarterbacks gets in a rhythm, I think this team could go really far. Now, are they going to win a Super Bowl this year? Maybe not. Probably not. But they could go to the NFC Championship. They could win a Super Bowl next year. I think if Kyle Shanahan is as good as we think he is,
the perception is,
yeah, then he's going to have a winning season this year, win a playoff game, and then at least one playoff game, and then win it all next year. I mean, like, he's had 3 losing seasons in 4 years. So did Bill Walsh to start off. Fair enough. You're building from scratch. The thing about Bill Walsh is he never had another losing season after that. So I think it's fair to expect like the results to happen now. Like, you didn't walk into the same team that Sean McVay did with the Rams. You didn't have a ready-made contender, but you've built one. This is year 5, and I know there's been some complications along the way, but I think it's reasonable to have high expectations for this team moving forward.
And Bill Belichick also. Remember, he was on the cusp of being fired right before Drew Bledsoe got destroyed and cracked his sternum and started the Tom Brady era. And that's the thing. It's all about context. But right now, I think that any team's goal should be being in the playoffs every single year. I know that you don't get a trophy for that, but you got to be in it to win it. And the team is just so boom or bust, and it's just so weird when it comes to that. But I think that everybody's journey as a coach is different. And it's the same thing with Kyle Shanahan. But this has got to be a season where if they win a playoff game, that's a successful season in my book. I know that people don't want to hear that, but that's successful because you're moving in the right direction. Remember, when you asked, I think we had a show where you asked, hey, what would be a successful season? Building in the right direction. Show me things that I can point to that say, okay, this is what they're building to. I love it. You know, this can't be just if you don't win a Super Bowl, it's not successful. No, there needs to be context. There needs to be a lot of things that you need to think about when you think about a successful season. Can you get the rookie up to speed? Can everybody get through the season unscathed with injuries? Can you show that you can win games in a multitude of ways with great defense or just scoring points when you need to consistently? So there's a lot of ways that you can quantify a successful season. I just don't think it's fair to say Super Bowl or bust. I don't think.
Also, if it's Trey Lance who's the quarterback when they're playing in the playoffs, that's all good. All good experience.
House money. And that's house money you're playing with. Yeah.
Yeah. So all I'm saying is not to like raise the bar and be like extra negative on this team if they don't reach some lofty goals. Just to say that I think you're in store for a better team than you expect. Everyone's kind of like, well, the team get hurt and the quarterback and the defensive coordinator. Team might be really, really good. And I guess we'll just have to see what Trey Lance can do early on.
Yeah, and you have to remember too, other teams are going to fall apart with injuries too. That's the thing. That's the stuff that people forget. Like, yes, you want to make sure your team is healthy, but circumstances changes. This is a week-to-week league. Week 4, you could be at the top of somebody's power rankings. Everybody's saying, I don't know how this team can be beat. By the time week 12 rolls around, whether that's injuries or whether that's whatever you're doing on the field as far as scheme isn't working, this league changes fast. So that's why it's impossible right now on July 1st to say, yeah, the 49ers Super Bowl contenders. Let's see some bullets start flying first. Let's get some games. Yeah,
imagine if Aaron Donald or Jalen Ramsey gets hurt. Like, what's that team going to be like?
The Rams are out.
Yeah, Rams are out. Sorry. Yeah, Grandpa Pat says at least there's no Oklahoma drill, no Super Bowl this year. Playoffs are bust. Yes, playoffs. They should make the playoffs this year. It's a tough division, but they have an easy schedule and an easy conference.
And more playoff spots are open. If I'll tell you this. If you want to quantify a successful season with a playoff berth and a victory, yeah. But a unsuccessful season will be not making the playoffs this year. Bottom line. That's the best way I could put it. And that'll be a failure. In my eyes, that'll be a failure if they don't make the playoffs this year. Yeah,
it's not like there's totally starting over. You're not totally starting over. You've been building this for 5 years. You brought in a new quarterback, but you still have the old one. You're expected to make the playoffs this year somehow. It's not the same as – I mean, like, the other guy who got fined was Urban Meyer. Whatever. It's like they're not going to compete. He's trying to – you can almost understand. Like, oh, he hasn't been in the league. He doesn't know.
That's his MO. That's his MO, though. He breaks rules everywhere he goes. Nothing happens to him, and he just gets another job somewhere else. So that's Urban Meyer's MO. That one didn't shock me at all. If
the other one was Dallas.
That one, well, Mike McCarthy's inept. So look. All right. Back to the original point.
You don't want to be in that company, man. Don't put yourself in that company, man.
I was just about to say that. If you want to spin a negative out of it,
Yeah.
Don't be in the same group with Mike McCarthy and Urban Meyer. Yeah. That's not a good look. I agree with you on that one.
Because, I mean, like, no one questions that Kyle Shanahan is a brilliant offensive scheme innovator. Like, there's some people in his league, but no one better. We're just talking about, like, leadership and organization, man. Boring stuff. Control your team, man. Come on.
And he is the face of this team, and he controls everything. It's not John Lynch, it's not Jed York, it's Kyle Shanahan. Kyle Shanahan has the keys to all of this. So it's not like he's like, well, that's over my pay grade or that's over my head. No. You're in charge of everything at this point. You are. So come on.
That's why he got fined 50 and Jed York got fined 100.
50 bands. Oh.
Don has a question about this. He said, do you think Kyle canceled mandatory to deflect from CBA wrongdoings? Maybe. I have a different theory. Do you think that Jed York canceled mandatory because he knew this was coming and was pissed? I don't know. I guess we'll never know.
It's a good thing the state of the franchise was yesterday. That was fun.
Like, we have practices and you cost me $100,000. Like, no more practices. Forget that. Like, I don't want to spend $100,000 anymore.
I don't care how much money you have. Don't come and tell me, if that's a drop in the bucket for Jed York, yeah, it is. I don't care. $100,000, I don't want to give that up. I don't care.
Jed York went out to dinner with Tim Kawakami and made him pay up on that bet that he had. So that's documented. Tim and Jed bet over whether Levi's was going to get built by 2012. Jed won the bet. The bet was dinner at French Laundry, which is the most expensive restaurant in California. They go. Jed brings his wife. And makes him pay for both of them.
Bottles, they bought bottles of wine. Like, he didn't say
multiple grands. And it's like, hey, good, have fun with your reporter salary paying for this one.
I was about to say, I didn't know Tim Kawakami was balling like that, man. I got to get into this beat writer stuff. If I could take owners out, to dinner on bets, I'd bet Jed a bunch of stuff if I could make beat writer money, apparently.
I don't know. So if Jed would make Tim Kawakami pay up on that bet, he might just make Kyle Shanahan cancel minicamp. So, man, you got in trouble twice? Twice? All right. I'd love to know. I'd love Kyle to tell us the truth one day. All right, so we just gave our expectations for the team. What did you think of Kyle Shanahan's answer? I mean, he was asked pretty point blank by Greg Papa. Is this team better than the one that went to the Super Bowl 2 years ago? John Lynch said yes. Kyle Shanahan said it has a chance, and then went through a list of things that could be in their way or could hold them back or that would need to happen. What did you think of his answer?
I think that Kyle Shanahan gave a Kyle Shanahan answer. He doesn't deal in absolutes, and he's not going to come out and tell you this team is way better than it was in 2019 because he doesn't operate like that. You got to give yourself an out. Plus, he also understands that there's circumstances that would lead you to understand whether this team was better than 2019. You're not going to figure that out right now on July 1st or whenever they recorded the state of the franchise. If that team is better, they've got to play games. So Kyle Shanahan understood all of those things. He's calculated. He never really gives any answers that are definitive or straight up like black and white. Everything is we had to sift through how many Kyle Shanahan quotes during the draft process to try to figure out what he wanted to do with it. So his answer was not shocking to me. He could have just came right on and said, I believe we are. But he gave the answer that gives himself outs. So if anybody wants to call him back out on it, he can say, well, yeah, I told you, this, and this, and this.
Yep.
So it was a very Kyle Shanahan answer. I didn't expect anything less from him.
Super on brand for him. It is exactly how he answers questions. And when John Lynch went full optimistic, I was like, okay, here comes the yeah, but answer. Because that's just, we know Kyle. And I feel like it's just him being himself. He's super honest. He can't give a lie. He can't say something for the sake of saying it. But that's what you kind of have to do as a leader. Like, for example, covering Jim Harbaugh. Had Jim Harbaugh been asked the same question, he would have gave something very short in response. He would say, that's the expectation, and we're going to work hard to prove it. That's all you got to say. Not that we believe it. That's the expectation. You're either getting better, you're getting worse, and we're going to do everything we can to prove it. End of story. And Lynch kind of went there, although he said a little bit more, and Kyle went, full Kyle. And what I'm saying for Kyle is, look, man, we all appreciate your insight. You're right. What you said was right on, man. You totally let it out. But as a head coach of your team, like, the purpose of this whole thing was to hype up your fan base and your players. So I just feel like, ask yourself, Jason, let me ask you, his blunt honesty in that moment, was it inspiring? You know what I'm saying? Was it motivational?
It didn't inspire me or motivate me. It felt right. It felt like how Kyle moves, and he did have a point when you talk about that. Again, it's so hard to talk about that on July 1st, whether this team is going to be better than a team that won 15 games and got this close to winning a Super Bowl. It's so hard to talk about those things in that way. Kyle's not dumb. Kyle's not going to give you that blunt answer, but Kyle sat there and he was like, okay, yeah, we could be, but let me just lay out, just in case you guys want to pull this back up and say that I said this, I also gave you all of these qualifiers as to why it might not happen.
I'm just used to NFL coaches projecting confidence in the face of that question. And what Kyle seems to always want to do is lower the expectations. Like, look, I'm really good, but I don't know about this roster that John Lynch has put together. We have a lot of questions here. Like, don't put my feet to the fire if things go sideways, because I'm not in control of everything. There's a lot that could go sideways that's not in my control. And he's right, of course. But again, the head coach is supposed – I remember Harbaugh. You just go up there and you project confidence come hell or high water. That's usually the way it's done.
The other thing is the state of the franchise. What that was for is to hype up fans, and you have to know all of those things. So I would have just said, "Hey, that's what we're looking to do." I'm really excited. That's what we're hoping for. Obviously,
that's the goal.
And the other comment I thought was kind of good that he gave was about the Super Bowl. Yeah, well, obviously, I've been close twice, and I was like, oh wow, I was like, okay, Kyle. So like these are things that you don't normally talk about. But I was happy to hear him talk about that. I just don't know if 49er fans want to hear about him acknowledging that, yeah, the Super Bowl is the goal, and I've been there, and I'm kind of close. But, yeah, I didn't know how that was going to ring with 49er fans. I thought that was the more interesting quote for me.
I guess it's ridiculous for a reporter to be telling a head coach to be less transparent. Like, I think he prides himself on his transparency and telling it like it is. And I appreciate it, Kyle. But I'm trying to talk to you as quality control right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't need to do it all the time. Like, you can practice lying. I want you tonight to go in the mirror and practice lying, keeping your face straight, saying the minimal stuff, because sometimes it's in the best interest of your organization. And as a leader, you got to think that way. Do I need to lie right now?
I won't even say it's lying. He needs to work on his coach speak.
There you go. There you go. It's coach speak.
It's coach speak. Oh man, he's a competitor. He works his tail off. Those things, it's generic. It rolls off the tongue. When you watch other head coaches, they don't even have to think about it. What do you think about this player? Man, he comes in and he competes. I love what he brings to the team. Look, I'm not an NFL coach. That's coach speak. Keep going. Give me and I'll give you a coach speak answer. Go. Give me a question.
Are the 49ers better than they were 2 years ago?
That's obviously the goal, and that's what we're going to be working for every single day. And that's what we got a bunch of guys in this building who are going to, who are committed to the same goal. And we really believe in that group that we have in that locker room there. Boom. I'm an NFL coach. Done.
Exactly. And what's funny is a lot of players can do it too. Like when you listen to Fred Warner talk, it's like, oh man, he's got coach speak down. This dude is 24 and a half years old. You cannot knock him off his spot. He's prepared for anything. But with Kyle, sometimes it's like, man, you should just ask him that question one more time, because he to me is Will Ferrell from Austin Powers 2. You just have to ask him the question three times. Then he'll break down. I just can't stand being asked the same question 3 times.
Dr. Evil. He's like, that was easy.
All right, similar question. We've already said that Kyle Shanahan is the organization, the face of the organization. But I question his natural leadership ability, and I think he's very smart to surround himself with natural leaders. D'Amico Ryans, Robert Saleh. I mean, it's obvious that there's a yin and yang there that works. So my question is, in your opinion, and if it's Kyle, you can say it's Kyle, who is the leader of this franchise? Is it Jed? Is it John? Is it Kyle? Is it a player?
It's Fred Warner.
It so 100% is Fred Warner. I'm glad we got to there. We didn't even talk about that. I was just asking. It's Fred.
No, it's Fred. And when he sat there with Kittle and they were talking, you can tell Fred, and he leads with action.
Yes.
That's the thing about it.
Yes.
Didn't complain one bit about not having a contract. Took every single rep in OTAs like you were talking about. He could have been one of those guys that said, I'm going to go work off on the sideline. And no, he leads by example. When he talks, the team moves. When he talks, the fan base moves. And his play is what really is indicative of that. He works his ass off, and nobody can outwork Fred. It's Fred Warner. It is Fred Warner. How many Fred Warner jerseys did you buy after the state of the franchise yesterday, Grant?
I don't buy jerseys, but if I did and I was a kid, I would want a Fred Warner jersey. I like the way, like, he's not even signed to his extension, and he's sitting there like, don't worry about it. This is my team.
I'll be here. And
I'm going to sign myself.
Right, and that's the thing is no one's fretting about Fred. He's a cornerstone franchise player, and he knows it, and his fan base knows it. So I bought his jersey last night. Nice. I did because I know he's going to be here. Last night, I had to, and I bought it because I understand that he's going to be here, and he is the absolute 100% leader, quiet leader, says all the right things, does everything right on the field. Kyle Shanahan is the leader of this team when it comes to talking football. We've spoken with players, and they always say when he walks in the room, everybody shuts up and they look and they talk, and that's great and all. But there's something about a peer who does everything that you need to see be done, right? He doesn't rip people on the sideline or anything like that. He just goes about his business and he leads by example. And when other players are heaping praise on Fred Warner in that way, Aaron Rodgers called him the best in the game. That is high praise, especially because Aaron Rodgers is at the top of his level. So it is Fred Warner. For me, it's Fred Warner, and it's more about how he leads without any sort of outlandishness. Like, Richard Sherman's a leader, right? When he was on his team, but Richard Sherman was way more outspoken. He just had a different style.
Yes.
So now that has been passed on to somebody. Fred Warner now leads his team with a quiet confidence of come in, do your job, work as hard as I do. It's Fred Warner.
He has taken ownership of this team in a way I haven't seen a 49ers player do since Frank Gore. I mean, even Joe Staley, Joe Staley deferred to Frank Gore for years because you had to. It was Frank freaking Gore. Now, Gore made himself the leader of the team before when I was in freaking college and high school. But that's the way I see it. I mean, Frank Gore could talk for that team no matter what on any issue, offense, defense, big picture. So can Fred. And when Fred was sitting there last night being like, this is why we're going to be good. This is what you need to know about D'Amico Ryans. I mean, he has complete license to talk about anything he wants. And it's so like, it means more to him to be a 49er than it appears to mean to anyone else on the team. I'm not trying to single anyone out. Like they don't want it enough. It's just really refreshing to see a kid be a throwback like that. I mean, most of these guys are mercenaries now.
And he's so humble about it. Yeah. That's the thing. It's never, I'm better than you. It's always follow me, guys. And not follow me because I know what's best, but just follow me because I'm going to be working harder than anybody in this building. And it shows. It comes through whenever you hear him speak. A lot of guys could take, and you know what? A lot of guys have changed. And that's what's funny about this team. Jimmy Ward is evolving now into one of these vocal leaders. And I love it because Jimmy Ward has kind of taken he's
like the Kittle of the defense, man.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
I like it. He had to sit and take a lot of crap from fans, the beat writers, everything. And I think now it's so weird how everybody's NFL experience and journey is different. In year 7 for him, is it 6 or 7 or one of those years? He looks like he's out of his cocoon now. Like that's it. Like now he's just like now he's the person that I don't know if he thought he could be. He's perfect now. Like and that's what's funny about it. But it's always been Fred. He just walked in. I'm the man, and I'm not the man because I'm better than you or anything like that. I'm the man because I'm here to work, and you're just gonna follow my lead because it's by example.
Yeah, I really, really respect what he's doing. It's tremendous. He's the leader of the team. And remember, like, he wasn't the leader of the team when they went to the Super Bowl. He could have been. It was his second year. Richard Sherman was a dominating personality. Buckner had been on the team longer. Bosa was very influential. Joe Staley was still here. Emmanuel Sanders was still here. All those guys were gone last year. And if it wasn't for Fred Warner, this team would have had no direction. So, he might have gotten Robert Saleh hired with the Jets. He's a very, very important person. I'm not nothing against Robert Saleh, but this Fred Warner guy is truly special. And last thing I want to say is eventually it should be Trey Lance. Usually you want the franchise quarterback to be the leader of the team, but Jimmy Garoppolo isn't that guy. He's just not that kind of personality, and there was a vacuum. Honestly, the head coach isn't that kind of a guy. It's a very interesting team. They have a quarterback who wins, a head coach who wins, but the leadership comes from different places a lot of the times, and it was from Saleh to an extent, and I think from Fred Warner is even more of a leader than Robert Saleh. He is such an alpha personality, and we saw it last night.
And quiet confidence.
I'm saying the state of the franchise better than anyone else.
That's it. Yeah. Honestly, we could have probably did the state of the franchise a little bit. No, it was good. No, Kiana Martin ran that perfectly. She's amazing.
I love Kiana Martin. Yeah, she's great at her job. Does a good job. I wasn't trying to knock them. It's just when the team sets up a media event like that without any real interviews, that's what it's going to be. I'm not knocking the people asking the questions. It's when the team picks who asks the questions. That's what happens. I'm sure they even pick the questions too.
That's part of the thing. Yeah. That's part of the thing that I was disappointed about, because when you remember how it happened before, they had Peter Schrager, they had the guys on the stage. It was live questions. There was a little bit more atmosphere. But when you say, hey, we're going to pre-record this, here's the questions, I can edit this however I want to edit it, kind of loses its luster. And
the fact that they could go through an entire state of the franchise 2 months after making the biggest trade in franchise history,
not have Trey Lance on it?
Why wouldn't you mention him? You should be proud of him. What was that?
You know what that is.
I honestly
they're not trying to drum it up any more than it's already happening. Grant, I'm going to say this. I'm glad that I was able to take a week off last week. You know, I went to a Yankee game. That's not, I didn't like tell you, hey, I need a week off. I went to go watch the terrible Yankees play baseball. But dude, the Jimmy and Lance stuff is already, it's run its course already. And we haven't even gotten to training camp. It's like people are just regurgitating the same things over and over. Literally, no one has any sort of new point on either side.
Thank God for the state of the franchise, man.
Thank God for this fine, because what else we have talked about today? It just, I don't want to.
I was going to call you and be like, man, you want to take the week off again? Listen, because
I had tickets to the game today, and it got rained out. Thank God. But here's the thing: here's the problem. I'm not trying to police what people want to discuss and argue about or anything like that. My thing is when you've hit the ceiling on what you can say, there is nothing more that can be said on either side, pro Jimmy or pro Lance. There's nothing more, nothing.
Yeah,
because there's nothing else to talk about. It's enough. It is enough already. Please, guys, put the swords down, and we'll get back to this when camp starts. Wait for another Trey Lance great OTA report before you do something. People are citing stats from 2019 with Jimmy Garoppolo. People are citing what's going on with Trey Lance's workout videos. Dude, nothing has changed yet. Relax. Sorry.
Sports content creators down bad this time of year.
Woo, very bad.
Josh says your favorite fan, Jimmy Ward, posted the "Do you consider me a safety?" on his Instagram story hours ago. Is he annoyed with how he's being used?
No,
I think he's annoyed with how he's perceived, right?
Right, that's it. That's exactly it. I think he's trying to change the narrative on what he's because he's a Swiss Army knife, and he always has been. Remember, he bounced from nickel corner to safety to like. Now I think people. It's so funny. Again, I don't know if we talked about this before, but Jimmy Ward's perception has completely changed amongst 49ers fans. He was one of the most disliked 49ers because of injury concerns and things like that. But now, because people have been woken up to him covering tight ends and him playing in the box and doing everything else, now all of a sudden 49er fans love Jimmy Ward. It's so weird to me.
He kind of had the Grant Cohn shift really quickly.
You and him are parallel. And I think that's why he talked about what he talked about when he brought you up, because I don't know of a rebrand that was more strong than Jimmy Ward or yourself. I mean, the only other person I could think of that rebranded themselves in all of sports to be somewhat like, not you, I'm just talking about
say Alex Rodriguez, aren't you?
Yes, A-Rod. A-Rod.
I never took steroids.
Everyone hated A-Rod. Once he got on TV, everybody was like, oh, look, this guy's really kind of smart and he's all right. Yeah, so I'm not saying that that's you. I'm just saying that he had one of the best rebrands, and also Jennifer Lopez has something to do with that. But that's true. That has nothing to do with the 49ers.
Jimmy, come on my show. I'm trying to interview you. Don't have Twitter. I don't know how to reach out to you. I'm going to call your agent, but I know you're watching. Come on my show.
Grant, make an IG. And
he's on IG.
And send that DM, man. Shoot your shot. Shoot a shoot.
I'm going to shoot my shot. No, I'm just going to call his agent. Are you kidding me?
There you go.
All right. Here's a question, and we don't know the answer to this question, but it's a question that keeps popping up in my mind when I see all the steps that Trey Lance is. It's obvious what Trey Lance is doing. He's like, I'm just going to play the part until they give it to me. You know, I'm just going to act the part of the franchise quarterback. I'm organizing stuff. I'm working out with Debo. If Jimmy doesn't want to do it, I'll do it. Jimmy did this stuff last year. He was all in the mix in Nashville, and now it's Trey. And it seems like they brought in Trey to take your job, and Jimmy's response is to do nothing. Or at least that's what it seems because of social media.
Right.
What do you exactly? Do you think Jimmy is apathetic in the sense where he's like, you know what? I'd be happy to leave the 49ers. Actually, I could use a change of scenery. Or is it impossible to know where he's coming from?
I think it's on brand for Jimmy. He has social media, but he never uses it. And he's never used it to post workout videos or anything like that. Even when he was in Nashville, he was just in Nashville working. Yeah. So you have to think about the age gap, right? Jimmy Garoppolo is close to 30. Yes. Trey Lance just turned 21.
True.
Trey Lance has been brought up in the social media era where people post their workout videos. Now, here's the dichotomy, and here's the thing. Do you work in silence, or do you want everybody to see that you're working out? For me, the way that I am, because I'm older and I'm, whatever, Gen Z, boomer, whatever, work in silence, let the results play out. That's True. It. I don't need to show you that. Like, it's like that person that goes to the gym, right? Yeah. And they keep showing you every day, oh my God, I'm lifting. Bro, just get brolic, go do it on your own time, and that's it. Like, I don't care. I don't care.
Is there anything more boring than workout videos? Hey, dude, check me out while I lift this by bench press. No, I don't.
You're not motivating me. You're not motivating. I am literally watching your workout video on my Instagram while drinking a beer. You're not motivating me to get up and do anything. Okay, so
it's the most boring video of all time. Like, it's God. You're bench pressing.
Trey Lance, Kendrick Bourne, those guys, those are social media guys. That's where they were brought up. They were brought up in this time to do those things. So they're showing their work, cool, because they are working. Work in silence, get on the field and do something, and it's right on brand for Jimmy Garoppolo. He's never been, look, he doesn't say anything in press conferences. He's never out there, like the most you'll see him doing is Kentucky Derby with Tom Brady. He's not a big social media guy. He seems like he's very private in that way. So I'm not going to kill him for this. I don't think he's apathetic. I just think this kind of falls in line with the way that he moves on social media.
Let me tell you what I would do, though. If I were Jimmy Garoppolo, If I were Jimmy Garoppolo and they just brought in my replacement, like, to me, this is a lot like what happened with Phillip Rivers and Drew Brees. Like, they're moving you out, but not yet. If I were the older guy getting pushed out, I would, and I wanted to stay on that team, I would make it known. I would go over the top to show that the fan base, I want to be here. And anytime Trey Lance tried to organize something or work out with Debo, I would be like, no, Debo, I'm organizing something over here. And now you got to choose who you're going to go to, me or I. And I would say, Trey, who the hell do you think you are? I'm still the quarterback of this team. You come to my workout. That's what I would do. I would have a total horsepower competition with that kid.
Let me play devil's advocate.
Sure.
Because if that's not something that you've been doing your entire time with the team, because Nashville happened, but after Richie James breaks his wrist and Deebo Samuel breaks his foot, it's like, all right, that's it. Everybody get out of here. Like, no more of this anymore. But doesn't that kind of ring hollow? It doesn't ring true if Jimmy Garoppolo all of a sudden changes what he's been doing, and all of a sudden now, like, as a fan, I would read right through that. What I'm saying is, if you've never been that guy, and all of a sudden they bring in a guy to take your job, and now you want to be that guy, you should have been doing that before.
Good
point. And that's my thing. So I mean, if you kind of change that, for me, it comes off fake. And for me, that really shows a little bit of insecurity on Jimmy's part. Jimmy's sitting here and not changing a thing doesn't make him apathetic. It gives off a little bit of quiet confidence, in my opinion. I'm still here, I'm still the man, and I'm still gonna do my thing. So look, take it how you want, but I don't want people changing things just to change your perception or have something that doesn't ring true. It would be hollow if he tried to change up the way he was moving.
Still here. All right, we got some more information from Adam Schefter. We got some more information from Adam Schefter.
Go.
So he just tweeted that NFL management ordered the 49ers to cancel the final week of OTAs. Hold on. Here's what he tweeted. He says, other penalties. NFL Management Council ordered the 49ers to cancel the final week of OTAs last month. So when they said, hey, we've done enough, we've got enough.
That was a lie.
That was a lie. They were ordered to cancel the last week of OTAs. I don't think they were ordered to cancel minicamp. I guess they felt, what's the point of stopping and starting and stopping and starting? That actually makes more sense. So this is very educational.
So
yeah, man, Kyle.
So you wanted to lie more.
I told you to lie. Now this is
lie more.
I was saying lie for the sake of motivating your fans and players. This probably best to be transparent on why you're getting in trouble. So, okay, now we know for sure that Kyle Shanahan got a week of rookie minicamp canceled and a week of OTAs canceled. So he got 2 weeks canceled. That's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. Sorry, it's just embarrassing.
What's embarrassing is to be lumped in with Mike McCarthy and Urban Meyer.
Super. Yup.
And look, Mike McCarthy's a punchline. Urban Meyer, you know what? Let's just wipe the slate clean of what we know about Urban Meyer. Urban Meyer's a first-year coach. What if he's trying to change the culture? Maybe, we're going to practice a little bit harder. We're done with all that. Okay, fine. You can cut him some slack. Kyle Shanahan in year 5. Come on.
Yeah, I don't think you're doing that. Urban Meyer's like, I could see him willfully breaking the rules and be like, I don't care. I'm trying to set a culture.
Urban Meyer. And what are they going to do? They're not going to fire me. And if I get fired, I'll get another job. Who cares? That's Urban Meyer. That's literally,
I don't see that from Kyle. I don't think Kyle's trying to set a culture. It's year 5. I think he's, I don't know. I feel like he's so good at the attention to details of X's and O's. I mean, it's what he does. But the details, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Is that like the little details of practice, he doesn't have the same care and attention to detail that he does with his X's and O's. And again, man, you're a head coach, dude. I know it's boring. A lot of people say that being a head coach is straight up boring, that it's mostly planning and scheduling. There's a lot of like, how long do we do in practice and when do we get the buses and how are we going to feed the players? Like a lot of people just kind of prefer to be the coordinator. And I think being a coordinator is extremely fun. Kyle, you got to really love the boring stuff too, man. These little things here. Otherwise, you're Mike McCarthy.
I think, yeah. Well, Mike McCarthy got a job because he just signed up for PFF and he showed up to the Dallas. He showed up to the Dallas interview and said, "Hey,"
because he developed Aaron Rodgers. Yeah.
I'm sure he did, bro.
Sure. Yeah. So did Jeff Tedford. Yeah.
Exactly.
How many people are taking credit for Aaron Rodgers in the world right now? Probably that guy up in Chico too. He wouldn't have been nothing without me.
Exactly.
Anyway, Schefter, thank you for getting to the bottom of this. Yeah. Kyle, not your best look to lie about it, but
this is gonna be discussed a lot now. I think thank you for this, honestly, because now us poor content creators, aka the other people too, like the other beat writers, everybody's been scrambling to try and figure out how to fill content. Everybody.
Boom.
That's why people are trying to rehash the whole Jimmy and Lance thing. Thank God we're gonna have something to really discuss and pick apart now. So you know what? I hate that it happened to the team, but
I'm not trying to rant and come down hard on Kyle Shanahan because I do that a lot and it's played out. All I'm trying to say is I think this could be the best thing that's ever happened to the 49ers.
When's your next show after this?
3:00. Nah, woo! I'm not going to do it hard. It's the best thing that could have happened to him. They finally have the league saying it is the practice methods. Back off. Let's see if the Niners do.
Who are you on with at 3, or is it just
Coach Johnston?
You guys are gonna kill him. I can't wait, bro. I can't wait. All right,
we're gonna do it in a very measured tone, though. Kyle, come on, man. All right, so at least I didn't get docked a draft pick. That can happen sometimes. Didn't it happen in Seattle? It can't.
Yes. No, it happened because they had 2 violations of it. That's why. So
that's the thing. If you keep doing it, yeah.
John Middlecoff on Haberman and Middlecoff. Shout out to Haberman and Middlecoff shout out. On their podcast. He said that he believes that it was Pete Carroll that dropped the dime on the Niners because they had been for the same infraction 2 years in a row fined. So I love the gossip at this point. What else are we going to talk about? When camp starts, then we'll get back to analyzing things, because there's going to be plays and stuff like that. Right now, it's all about gossip right now in July before we get to camp, which is end of the month, man. We're almost there.
You could really argue that the 49ers are an elite team whose biggest enemy is themselves. I mean, Kyle, he's his biggest enemy. This team that beats itself up in training camp and spring training. Like, if they could just get to week 1 in one piece without limping into the season, God, what they could do. This team is really good.
Even last year, when there was no practice, they still couldn't get to.
I just feel like this could be the best thing that could happen to this team. If they can just get to week 1 and relatively healthy, it's wide open. They could. Who knows? There's no cap. I mean, if Chris Paul can win a NBA Finals this year, who's to say a rookie quarterback can't do it on the 49ers? Last topic. Speaking of Trey Lance, obviously you can't rank him among NFL quarterbacks. What Chris Sims tried to do didn't make any sense. How do you 38th? Let's try to rank him and take experience out of it. Just raw physical gifts. Where would you rank this guy right now?
He's up there, top 12, top 15 in skills easily. And the only reason that I don't have him any higher is because I need to see it on the NFL football field.
Sure.
But if we're just talking about what we've seen from NDSU, from all the film that we have from him. Arm is incredible. Processing is great. The kid can run people over, doesn't turn the ball over. I mean, what else can you say? I mean, there's no reason that the 49ers went up to 3 if they didn't believe the same thing that I'm telling you right now. It's just that right now he would be top of the team because he's never played. But if he starts to play, he becomes a top 1, 2, 3 traits guy in this league.
Yes. Thank you. I think that's what I'm trying to get to. I think like we don't really, I mean, he's bigger than Kyler Murray. He's not as quick as Kyler Murray. He's definitely bigger than Kyler Murray. He's more mobile than Patrick Mahomes. He has a stronger arm than Lamar Jackson. When you start to like kind of piece together the skill set, it's daunting.
Right. Another thing too is in today's game, everybody is gravitating to undersized linebackers who are faster. Now, those undersized linebackers are going to have to try to tackle Trey Lance in the open field. Godspeed. So that's what I'm talking about.
He's the most physical runner in the Niners backfield, yo. He is.
Even Sermon?
He's bigger than Sermon, man. I mean, maybe Sermon is just a more naturally, a more natural runner, but dude, this guy is huge. Him and Jalen Hurd.
Jalen Hurd, right?
Hurd, yeah.
But I think that the way that the game is played, and you touched on it, right? Not as fast as Kyler Murray, pretty close. Better arm than Lamar Jackson for sure. The processing is really where if the processing turns over from college to where it was into the NFL, sky's the limit. Now he's a 1, 2, 3 guy. Now
that's why I was comparing him to Fred Warner, because Fred Warner is very gifted for a middle linebacker. He was a safety. He moves well. He's tall. But what puts him over the top is that the mental side of his game is right there with the physical side, if not surpassing it. And I think that's what is the expectation for Trey Lance.
Yeah. And the 49ers, if they didn't believe this of him, they wouldn't have moved up to 3 to get him. So
that's why I think he's such an exciting pick. I'm not a Niner fan, but I did advocate for them to get him. And I think that the ceiling is staggering. Like, he has the ceiling to be the best quarterback in the league. And I'm not saying he will be, but he has those tools to work with. If he puts in the work, if things go his way, if he doesn't get hurt and the Niners stay good, he could be Patrick Mahomes in a few years. Who knows?
It's in his range of outcomes. That's what I'll say. That's what it'll definitely. I mean, again, when you talk about range of outcomes, it's what's more likely, but it's in his range of outcomes. And I think that the 49ers believe that, and that's why they moved up to 3 to get him. So
you could argue that of the young quarterbacks in the league, his range of outcomes is bigger and wider than anyone else's. I mean, he could be a bust. He doesn't have much experience.
He could be a bust, but I think a lot of what we're excited about too is him being paired with Kyle Shanahan. Because look, let's face it, I love Patrick Mahomes, but Patrick Mahomes has one of the best play designer, play callers in his bag, and that also really helps. Put Patrick Mahomes on the Jaguars. He's not lifting them to any Super Bowl. That's not
or if you put Deshaun Watson on the Chiefs instead of Mahomes, maybe Deshaun Watson would be the one talking about as the greatest quarterback of all time.
Situation matters, and I think all of that is what everybody's excited about with Trey Lance. Trey Lance didn't get dumped on. See, when there's a number 3 pick, it's usually a really bad team. You don't go to an amazing team with a roster and an amazing coach. That's not how this is. So Trey Lance has.
That's what's so weird about this year. Like, Lance goes 3 to the excellent roster. Fields goes 10th to Chicago. Good defense, but Chicago's where the young quarterback
and that situation could wind up impairing his progressions and all those things. I'm not trying to make excuses, but situation matters, and I think that people don't understand that. Like I said, if Patrick Mahomes got taken by the Jacksonville Jaguars, I don't think the Jacksonville Jaguars right now probably are sniffing any sort of Super Bowl or anything like that. He's great, he's amazing. But stop acting like Andy Reid and that franchise and what they built and the way that they were going when they got him. That has nothing to do with that. So it's not the same thing. Like, situation matters.
Right. I think what we're saying is Patrick Mahomes' physical skill set was daunting. It was off the charts. But a big reason he reached the height of his ceiling is because he went to the right situation. Trey Lance also has physical gifts that are daunting in a lot of ways. I mean, very Mahomes-esque. And like Mahomes, he went to the best situation possible for him.
Remember, raw, project, those are all the same things that they were throwing out about both these guys. So, I mean,
you could argue that Mahomes was more raw. He played in the air raid system. This guy comes from a pro-style offense.
And he was coached by Cliff Kingsbury, and they never won any games over there in college. It wasn't like he switched things over. So,
that's the thing. I keep saying that the Cardinals are going to make a move this year because I love their roster, but Cliff Kingsbury couldn't win in college with Patrick Mahomes. Couldn't win in college with Patrick Mahomes. Got fired from Texas Tech and got rewarded with a head coaching job in the NFL. It'll never make sense to me. It will never make sense.
Either I'm about to get all the praise from my Cardinal slander, or this Cardinal slander from me is about to blow up in my face if the Cardinals decide to take a step. But as long as Cliff Kingsbury's there, I don't care.
I just want to raise the bar for them. I'm in favor of good football. And if they don't win this year, they need to fire him and hire like Mike McDaniel or something.
Hey, 49er fans love Cliff Kingsbury. We're not trying to get him fired. Sign that man to a 10-year deal.
Hey, thanks so much for watching, everyone. That's our show, 49ers Coast to Coast. I got to go put up some measured articles about the 49ers' little mistake. I'll be back in an hour with Coach Johnson, and we're going to talk very quietly about what the Niners could do differently in the future. We'll
see.
Jason, thanks for coming on the show, man. Sorry about the rain.
Thank you, Grant. I'm happy. No, trust me. After the way they lost last night, I was going to go there and boo the hell out of them that entire time. I don't care what happened, but I'm happy to be back, man. And we're getting closer to the content, so let's get it, man.
Closer to things to talk about. Can't wait. Thank you very much, everyone. Back in an hour.